Clay Anderson said, Ole Miss is the best team in the country. Dart is the best quarterback and could take Dolphins to the playoffs in the NFL. Now, hold on. Matt B. Diddy, you know, how did the Matt B. Diddy lore expand from the YouTube comment section to the Twitter comment section? Anyways, Matt B. Diddy gonna take some heat for this top 12, and I have. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the AP poll reaction video. This is one of everybody's favorite videos throughout the week. It's one of my personal favorites, and it's a relatively simple process. We're going to take a look at the AP Nerds rankings, see what they got, and I'm going to give you guys my new and improved top 12. I can't emphasize this enough. I don't put any value on the AP poll, not anymore. Back in the day before the playoff, I did because it did matter, but now it's irrelevant. And I think a lot of people miss the point on that because the AP poll and the College Football Playoff Committee are two separate things. What I really value is my top 12 week to week. And that's why in this video, we're going to spend way more time talking about my top 12 and why I have each team where they're at. With that being said, let's see what the AP Nerds got and let's see who went up and went down. I guarantee you they put Texas at number 1. Starting on things with 25 through 21, A&M and Illinois, they crack it. Northern Illinois, they go up to 23. Nebraska, Clemson, nothing too much to say there. 20 through 15, not too much notable movement. Let's go we'll do 15 through 11. Yeah, not much movement there either. We didn't have a lot of big games this most recent weekend, and there wasn't too many upsets. Let's get into the top 10, though. Penn State drops 2 spots. Miami goes up 2 spots to number 8, and Missouri drops 1. Tennessee goes up to number 6 after that butt whooping. They put up a 65 burger to have against Kent State. They got Oklahoma this weekend. That's going to be a great game. I'm not going to get into that too much because, trust me, we're going to do a separate preview just for that game, so be on the lookout for that. 5 through 1, we got Ole Miss, Bama. Okay, yep. Exactly like I thought. Texas, they jumped Georgia. They have 1,540 points. Georgia has 1,518, so it wasn't too close. Nothing too much to freak out about. Let's get into my top 12. Before we get into it, let me show you last week's just so you have some context and perspective. Take a nice long look at this. You can pause and read it if you want, but let's get into my new top 12 after week 3. At number 12, I got K-State. Obvious reasons. They beat Arizona. They look solid. Nobody's going to complain about that. At number 11 and 10, I did drop Missouri and Utah, but it's not because they looked bad or anything. It's more so of Oregon impressed me, finally. I bumped up Oregon at number 9. They look like how we originally thought they were going to look early on in the season. At number 8, I did drop them, but it has nothing to do with them at all. It has everything to do with the team ahead of them, USC. I am high on this USC team. I like everything they're about. Their defense looks much, and I mean much improved from last year. We all know they're going to score points. They have an outstanding offense, but if their defense can just... Here's the thing with them. They don't even got to be a top 35 defense in the nation. If USC's defense can be average, be on the lookout for them. Ahead of them, I moved them up 1 spot. I got Alabama. Goes without being said, you don't need me to sit up here and hype them up. They look phenomenal against Wisconsin. Granted, it's Wisconsin. Wisconsin can't compete with the Alabamas and Georgias of the world, but you got to give credit to Alabama for just showing up and taking care of business on the road. I don't put too much value on a win over Wisconsin. Although most people are low on Wisconsin, I'm even lower. Wisconsin is not a good football team. They are average at best. But Alabama just looks so good, and the main reason for that is because they finally got Caden Proctor back. When you talk about the difference from Alabama from weeks 1 and 2 to week 3, you only got to bring up one name, and that's Caden Proctor. The offensive line is moving and grooving. If they can keep that up, they will go up in my rankings. Remember, let's not try to have recency bias. Although Alabama did look great against Wisconsin, the other 2 games, they didn't look great. Ahead of Alabama at number 6, this one was close to me. I thought about moving Alabama ahead of them. I decided not to. I got Tennessee. I think Tennessee is an overall better ball club than Alabama, and they've been more consistent, and I like that, and that's why I gave them the edge. I'll put it to you like this. If Alabama played like they did against Wisconsin, and not even all 3 weeks, but against South Florida too, I'd have them ahead of Tennessee and maybe even in the top 5. But since Alabama hasn't done it consistently, I got them at 7 for now. I've seen some Alabama fans in the comment section not happy with that, and that's fine. I don't expect you to be happy. But I'm going to tell you right now why you should be pleased. Alabama isn't even close to touching their potential, and look what they've done. They beat Western Kentucky 63-0, in which I stated they didn't play that good. They then proceeded to play awful against South Florida, and yeah, they scored a lot at the end, but they still won 42-16. And most recently against Wisconsin, there was still things Alabama could have done better. They could have cleaned up some stuff, and they won 42-10. The great news at Alabama is they're just going to get better and better and better. With a team like USC, I have a hard time seeing them ever sneak into my top 5. We'll see what happens there. 3 through 5, they remain unchanged for me. Miami, Ole Miss, Ohio State, nothing to say there. This is where the only argument in these rankings is going to come up. Who's number 1? Obviously, your AP nerds got Texas, and a lot of people, and we'll get to the comments in just a second, they got Texas as well. For me, though, and it wasn't even debatable, it wasn't even close, I didn't think about it too long, I still got Georgia at number 1. So 1 through 6 for me, and this might be the first and last time this ever happens, didn't change. Unlike the AP nerds, I will give you a long and thorough explanation as to why I didn't put Texas ahead of Georgia. I've said this numerous times. I said this in the reaction video and also stated in the recap, but I will say it one more time. Georgia did not play bad against Kentucky. Did they play good? Absolutely not, but they didn't play bad. Guys, they had 0 turnovers in that ball game. Kentucky played out of their minds, and I know people hate hearing this, but that's Kentucky's Super Bowl. The way I view the Georgia and Kentucky game is every single national championship winner and contender, every single year, go back and look at all the recent seasons, they always have that one game they struggle with a team nobody thought they was going to struggle with. But guess what? And I haven't said this phrase in a while on the channel, but it's a staple of the channel. Winners win and losers lose. Georgia is a certified winner and they have championship DNA, and winners always somehow, someway find a way to pull out a win. And Georgia did just that. They made enough plays at the end to walk out there with a W. Let me emphasize this. I don't expect a lot of you to agree with what I'm saying. That is totally fine. That's why we have this channel. That's why we have our community. And it's what makes it what it is. Because we don't agree on everything. If I agree with you and you agree with me on every single take, this wouldn't be much of a community. And I am not trying to persuade you into thinking Georgia's still this top dog and they should be a number 1 team. I am telling you why I have them at my number 1. I want you to get an understanding of my perspective when I make these rankings. I do not think any less of Georgia after that Kentucky game. If Georgia and Texas play tomorrow, I am picking Georgia 100 out of 100 times. There's that. Let's check out some of the replies to this tweet because there was a lot of people that didn't agree with it. Dresky said, Georgia at 1 is crazy and Bama at 7 just doesn't make sense. Well, I hope it makes sense now because I did explain why I have Georgia at 1 and Bama at 7. Dumb Food dropped USC after a bye week, LMAO. Well, it had nothing to do with USC. It had everything to do with Alabama. Michigan fan said, Texas should be number 1. You're a closeted Georgia fan. They got 36 likes. And that's not the first time I've seen that comment before. I've seen it in the comment section on YouTube and on Twitter. And I do want to address that because it's kind of getting funny at this point. I think it's really laughable. It is crazy. It has gotten to the point where people genuinely believe I'm a Georgia fan. For those of you that don't know, because we might have some new members watching, but I'm sure most of you do know, I'm an Alabama fan, which means I'm about as far from a Georgia fan as it gets. And I'm actually glad I've been receiving some of these comments because I was thinking about it. It low-key proves how unbiased I am. I've always stated on the channel I'm unbiased, and you know, most people, they don't believe that. Which it is what it is, but me personally, I think I'm unbiased. But one thing I thought of is this right here. So all throughout my life and all throughout this channel, Bama has been the best team in college football. I mean, they've been the best for the last 15 years. And I know they haven't won the championship every single year, but I'm talking about in total for the past 15 years, they've been the best. And I always stated, me saying Alabama is the number 1 team in the country isn't bias. It's just a cold hard fact, and it just so happens, unfortunately, I happen to be an Alabama fan, so when I say Alabama's number 1, people view it as bias. Well, now think about the scenario and situation we're in. I now have Georgia at 1, and I've been talking highly of them the past 2 years, and people can't use the excuse of, oh yeah, well, he's got Georgia at 1, so he's biased. So now people are just trying to come up with these insane narratives like, oh, well, I can't say he's biased, so, I guess he's a closeted Georgia fan. You want to know what it really is? Okay, y'all got me. I'll tell you the truth. The truth is, all I've ever done on this channel, all I'm doing right now, and all I will continue to do is call things for how I see it. And one thing I've always done is I give credit where credit is due. Me talking highly of Georgia and putting them at number 1 is me just giving them credit. I know you guys try to think there's some mysterious reason behind things, but there's not. I could talk more about that, but let's continue down here. I want to read some more of these comments. I'd put Tennessee maybe behind Ohio State, but for sure in front of Miami. I think Georgia could easily be 2 or 3 based on performance this far. I'm not mad at that. Thanks for leaving that comment. Evil Alex Bowman said, love Matt's rankings. AP poll are literally useless, and I agree. This is a USC fan, and I thought this was interesting. We didn't even play LOL. What's crazy is that USC has been treated like this by outsiders since I was a baby. USC has to go undefeated and beat everyone by 100 to garner respect. 2 weeks ago was their biggest jump in program history, and it's because they played an SEC school. Hey, I agree. USC, and this is just for me, they got to prove something to me. I don't view them as one of the big boys, and I do view them like an outsider. That is an outstanding comment. But remember, why do many people view them as an outsider? because they've been irrelevant for so long. Kentucky plays Georgia tough every year, so overreacting to the game is wild by some people. Good rankings, thanks. Okay, this is from Matt B. Auburn. This is what you get ranking Tennessee over Alabama, and it's me and a Tennessee edit. Shout out to Matt B. Auburn on Twitter, by the way. That's a pretty funny Twitter account. I always see his tweets. Clay Anderson said, Ole Miss is the best team in the country. Dart is the best quarterback and could take Dolphins to the playoffs in the NFL. Now, hold on. Is this a troll? No way you're being for real, my brother. Matt B. Diddy, you know, how did the Matt B. Diddy lore expand from the YouTube comment section to the Twitter comment section? Anyways, Matt B. Diddy gonna take some heat for this top 12, and I have. Sean Moore said, come on, man. Georgia wins by 1 point, and that doesn't affect you in any way. Kentucky that good, huh? No, I don't think Kentucky's good. I think they're an average SEC team. I just think it's one of those games for Georgia. Bro's a known Georgia fan. Dude, I'm getting lit up in this comment section. Sheesh. Okay, this is a good question. Hayden Ruffin said, so you dropped Bama 4 spots after the struggle against USF, but not Georgia. Great question. Let me explain. I dropped Alabama because they should have lost against USF. They didn't deserve to win, and they played awful. Alabama was getting false starts left and right. They got like 8 different holding calls. They fumbled the ball 3 times or 4 times in the second half. It was bad. Alabama just looked not that good to me. When I watched the Georgia and Kentucky game, I didn't walk away from that game thinking, oh yeah, Georgia looked bad. That's the difference. It's more so of Kentucky just played a good game, and it was one of those games too. You got to remember, Kentucky was milking the clock. Possessions were limited. Alabama had a crap ton of possessions against USF. They just couldn't do anything with them. Many more comments I can read, and if you guys want to see these rankings early and you want to comment on it and you have a question, you want to see it in the next video we make next week about all of this, all you gotta do is go to Twitter, follow it, and yeah, simple as that. Yet again, my rankings are posted on Twitter early for you guys for free. I'm not trying to sell you on something. No, 100% free. That's gonna be it for this video. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But